Hi, Dennis Weiss, Eagle Communications. Welcome to our town. We're filming at Great Plains Theater. They lend us a couple high chairs and a little black table and a black backdrop and a nice room to sit in. Got James Holland with me today, who I miss your old show.
Do you?
Yes, I do. When you were at the Chamber.
I really enjoyed doing
Abilene
that. It was fun.
Means Business. I enjoyed that show. I think it did a lot of good in our community. So I've got you today.
You got me.
I'm going to get all the information I need.
Turn me upside down, shake me up, see what falls out.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the last time we were here, you talked about a concept of what people can contribute to our communities, making it a better place to live. And you're here today, and you're about to tell me that you've delivered on that plan, and now you've got a date and a time and fully implemented idea here.
Well, you know, some of these things just happen with an idea and a few people talking, and then somebody runs with it and sees where it leads us. And what you're talking about is we're proposing to have we're not proposing, we are going to have a Make a Difference Week, which is going to be September 15th through the 21st. The 15th is a Saturday, and that was strategically picked because normally that week, the third week of September, is City Cleanup Week. Which we've done for many years, where people bring items to the curb, certain items the Public Works Department from the city goes through and picks them up and has them disposed of. So it's a free service to help people clean up the neighborhoods. And what we found over the years is that we'll have cleanup day and we'll drive through the alleys and there'll still be a lot of stuff out there, or somebody's got a house that needs painted, or just any number of things within our neighborhoods that we could do to kind of help the quality of life for everybody. And so we got to thinking about, there's people that are shut-ins or whatever their life circumstance is, they can't take care of certain things. And I just thought, wouldn't it be neat if we had volunteer teams that just, spent a little bit of time during cleanup week and took care of these things. And here we are about 3 or 4 weeks away from that, and
making that happen.
It's moving.
I think that's just a terrific. It's fun to sit here and say, great job putting it together, and once we're done with cleanup day, I think the community is going to say, hey, that was a great idea. Some of us who are out there cleaning up and painting are going to say that was fun. And but I think big picture, the community will be prospered by that. So you can never sit on camera with me without hearing the words economic revitalization and quality of life, and this goes to both of those things in a two-pronged way. Cleaning up the community makes it a better place. Helping people who can't help themselves, paint or mow or weed or whatever, helps them. All of that's pretty easy to see. But I guess the point I think we're going to get to help a wider group of people experience is it's good for us. To help people.
Yeah, I think some of the benefits that go just beyond. I mean, we have a lot of tires and brush piles and stuff that breed mosquitoes, and so yes, the cleanup is going to do a lot physically to the neighborhoods to help everybody's quality of life. And we are a small community, so what happens in one's neighborhood does affect us in lots of different ways. But the other thing is I think rebuilding people's pride in their community, getting people to know their neighbors a little better, that type of thing is immeasurable, because it's all those little social connections that make positive things happen in everybody's lives. And
so very few differences between people if you're locked in a 4x4 room with one. After a while, right? Those get solved.
That's true.
Those get solved. It may be because you have to, but they still get solved. But if we avoid people, we can imagine our differences are bigger than they are. Oftentimes you get in a group, and no matter what you're doing, you find you're not that far away from that other person, and you find common ground. And I think you're going to see that in the alleys.
Yeah, and it's even more prevalent in the digital age, where it's so easy to be, if not anonymous, at least you feel more comfortable in the privacy of your own home saying things that maybe can get misconstrued, right? And
I think it's typing with thumbs makes people brave and then you meet that person stupid.
You meet that person face to face, and you find out that's not really who they are or where they were, and so it's but yeah, to use a sociology term here, I think social capital within a community is very important, and we need to be mindful of that and get to know our neighbors.
So what do you think the chances are of finding, you know, pretty good sized collection of banjos in people's trash cans around the neighborhood?
Not very good.
Not very good?
No, I'm not.
Some people would say that would do a lot to improve the community if we cleaned out all the banjos. And I'm not one of those people, by the way, but you know, we hear the jokes when you go to these concerts.
Yeah.
So maybe we could be working on a whole new set of jokes about banjo
You know,
players.
and what's funny about just you brought up banjos for some reason. I'm not sure why you did that,
Well,
but you know,
You.
right. And I used to sit on my front porch and pluck my banjo. And what was amazing in my neighborhood is, first of all, everybody can hear it. It's not plugged in, but everybody can hear it for 3 blocks.
Yeah.
But the people that would just walk by and say, I was wondering where that was coming from. Can you pluck on this?
Yeah.
And so you get to know your neighbors just by doing things on the front porch.
And it drives the mosquitoes away.
It drives a lot of things away.
Yeah, they can't stand banjo playing.
Yeah.
Just, you know, a quality of life tip there.
Yeah.
That problem with mosquitoes, just learn to play the banjo. They're gone.
I guess so. You say so.
Okay, so the 15th of September starts on a Saturday, runs through 21st, coincides with the Public Works Department carrying a lot of stuff away for us. So we've got a new prong on the front end of that opportunity to build social capital with people. I know Eagles put a team of 9-10 people together.
Absolutely.
So we're going to have a team there. Encourage you and your business. If you haven't already talked to James about this, never too late to get in. There'll be teams that need a member or two, probably.
Yep, absolutely.
And you're coordinating through your office, right?
Correct.
Okay. Upstairs, city building.
Well, I've always wanted to do this. Call this number
That's
on the screen if you want to volunteer.
BR549.
Right. 263-2355. That's who to call.
Dave will put it on there because he's a nice guy. He won't put BR549 on
Sure.
So what else is going on at community development we need to know about?
Well, I want to a couple of things about. I want to do a couple of shout outs for the Make a Difference Week, which it hasn't occurred yet. But EagleCom, obviously, you guys are putting a team together. But there's at least 20 organizations in town that are putting teams together.
That's terrific.
Varying from 8 people to 15 people. Sometimes they're putting together 2 teams of 10. And we're talking about churches and some of the larger businesses and that type of thing. And we'll certainly take individuals and families that want to pitch in. We've got lots of things to do. But I would be remiss to not say that big shout out to Westar, because we had sent out a flyer that had what our goals were, and one of them was to plant 10 street trees or some number like that. Okay. Well, they contacted us and said, hey, we have a reforestation program. We're going to donate 20 or 30 trees if we can concentrate them in a neighborhood, and they'll come in and do it. So, so we've got that order. We got that order going, and so the 21st.
Where are they going?
We've got 2 target neighborhoods, but this is going to go in the neighborhood northeast, 7th south to the railroad tracks between Brady and Buckeye. So. So it's about a 12-block area that, and we're going to see additional street tree planting in there. Another shout out goes to Holm Automotive, who are going to allow us to use the old Green Ford location to put abandoned tires, which tires are a problem because you can't put them in a landfill. The public works guys won't pick them up because they won't take them to the transfer station. So we're going to have volunteers picking those up out of the alleys, getting them to that site, and we're going to have a recycler come in and get those. So
great idea.
So we'll get a lot of those mosquito things out as well.
That's good. Thank you, Mr. Holm.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, and thanks to Westar for those 2 things. Right now, we're looking at approximately 200 volunteers, and I hope it'll grow. First year event, so there's going to be it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve on it.
Always is, but it's going to be fun, and it's going to do a great thing for our community.
That's right.
I do believe.
That's right.
What other bright ideas do you have?
Other things going on in community development?
Yeah.
Well, any number of things. One of the things is you probably are familiar with all the interest in the industrial park as of late. Well, the city, we're working with our city engineering firm. We're going to put a small area plan for that together to go to the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission is really going to be able to sink their teeth in into how to develop that and tie that back to the budget through a CIP and really get proactive instead of just being in a reactive position.
I have to say I'm greatly encouraged by that process. I've enjoyed, watched Austin Gilley speak to the Rotary Group at lunch, slipped in and watched his presentation. I thought it was well done, really enjoyed the thought process that was going around the room. But for me, the biggest issue is the speed at which it's moved into getting something done at your office, right?
Correct.
I mean, so the team, the official team to make plans happen is engaged. You just told us they were. So that speed is a significant market advantage. Anytime you have two people racing with products, speed to the customer will win. So that's great that Abilene, as a product, the city of, and our team is moving this through the processes quickly. That will be good for us. Whatever choices are made about how to configure that or what we do or what we don't do. But the fact we're acting on it now, that's a great thing.
Yep, absolutely. And with economic development, you need to kind of take the long view. And so, yeah, we'll be proactive now in getting plans ready and possibly making some improvements to be ahead of the curve the next time something pops up. But you know, you need to looking long term at it. You know, when Russell Stover came in, for instance, there were quite a few naysayers about that deal, and you're throwing everything at him. Well, you know, that was mid '90s,
Okay.
and you know, they had a 10-year tax abatement, which they're done with. Well, they pay about $300,000 a year in property taxes to the city in Dickinson County, and have done so and what that does for trying to keep the mill levy down is insurmountable.
I think
that's
you've
really
led me into my favorite thing to talk about, especially when you're sitting in the other chair, because I have such regard for your focus on business. And anything we want to keep, anything we want to preserve, anything we want to lower the cost shared by the residents of, means we have to put new growth into place to be able to do that. Property values, you know, from new people, new houses, old houses, doesn't really matter, but new people to share the burden. New businesses produce new people. So for us to be proactive with the industrial area means we're creating the opportunity for new business to find it easy to come to Abilene. If that happens, everybody's tax bill goes down in a relative term to what it would have been without it, because we have value. Well, 10-year abatement doesn't really even come into it, because the new jobs that are there and those people with new money in our community immediately are turning that back around in our community and makes it easier to pay your tax bill. So it just
and you know, and some people will try to argue with that, but I've, you know, you can go out and look on the internet and look for cost of services studies. And there's hundreds of them out there that prove that industrial and commercial development always pays more in taxes than it uses in services, whereas residences, it's the other way around. So yes, commercial growth, increase in valuation of commercial properties, because it's taxed at a different rate than residential. It makes a much bigger impact just on the tax structure. But then when you factor in that people aren't going to do home improvements if they don't have good quality jobs. People aren't going to buy houses unless they have good quality jobs. That's the secondary impact of it that's, you know, very positive.
The other thing I think the city has done recently that I am smiling about and encouraged by is your little electronic roundtable that Austin has in place there, and I see new topics because they hit my email. There it is, right? New topic on the roundtable. It's up to us, the community, to prove the value of that by contributing our thoughts. But if it wasn't there, we couldn't do it. So good kudos to your team.
And I will tell you,
being aggressive.
The leadership from both Austin and the City Commission right now is we're coming to where we're using tools for that purpose and other purposes to really streamline what we do, make it more transparent, and an opportunity for people to comment more and really re-engage with their government in a way that they haven't prior to. And you know, it's it's hard to get, people won't go to meetings, but you give them a forum that's useful, that can be positive, and the roundtable is just one example of how technology is helping us move forward.
So you can fill me in. I was at the budget hearing, so I know there's money in the budget for GIS, Geographic Information Systems, next year.
Great.
I found it interesting that the floodplain discussion was a story in a newspaper, which you can read online, had a clickable field that takes you to the GIS map of the floodplain. So I'm saying this to say, when you hear about GIS, you can currently experience the value of somebody else using it if you're interested in a floodplain story or the floodplain around your house or your business or your community, because it's incredibly helpful to have that layer of information, that tool that lets you look at the actual problem you're working on. I can't think that the city of Abilene will be greatly benefited by having a GIS tool when we look at the industrial park and the future thereof and the infrastructure. You know, I have such respect for Lon Schrader. I kid him all the time, but he's one of my favorite people, because you can ask Lon about anything that's under the ground anywhere, and he's highly likely to tell you exactly what it is. But if Lon wants to go fishing for 10 years, we kind of need something else. You know what I'm saying? So there we go. But when you have a GIS layer, here's your water lines, here's your sewer lines, and here's the fire district, and here's the floodplain, you click, click, click. That's it. I don't know how you manage a modern city without a tool like that.
Institutional memory is vital, particularly in public works, because there's so much that goes on over the year that, once again, you don't see. You know, it's underground. That's, and then actually my department, our department in planning and neighborhood services, with some of our code enforcement and building inspection things, we're going to be using the GIS to track those better, be more efficient in our notifications, make sure we're doing all our follow-up. So, and we'd like to get to the point where you can go to the city's new website and you can find out, you know, where who's building a deck and those types of things if you want to know what's going on in your neighborhood. So we're moving in that direction.
It's going to be a great benefit just to our operation too, to be able to use the layers of city infrastructure with pictures from the air that you can look at things. That saves at least one trip. So all of those things are good. So if you look at tax dollars, our tax dollars all being spent on projects, wow, I'm very excited that some of it's being spent on GIS.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the county has done great work over the years with it, and we're kind of catching up and going to be working closely with them to make it work on our end for the city. So
all of those layers have value.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, what else? You have, that can't be the only good thing.
Well, you mentioned the floodplain, which I think is a major major thing, because
that's a good one.
The USDA has hired a company to go in. They redid all the floodplains. And actually, Dickinson County and Abilene's some of the last geographic area in Kansas to be updated. Our floodplain map was adopted in 1988, and it was basically some guys sitting with some elevation maps and drawing lines on it. So the accuracy wasn't there. With LiDAR technology, shooting a laser to the ground, bounces up, they can get within an elevation of a site within 6 inches, give or take. So the accuracy is incredible. And when you see the map, the old map versus the new map, and how the floodplain follows, you know, just even little ditches, it'll follow those things. It's pretty incredible. And we're fortunate here in Abilene in that the new map that's going to be proposed to be adopted in February of 2020 is a lot of areas that we previously thought were in the floodplain are out, which is going to benefit a lot of people who've had flood insurance in the past. Some people are going to be frustrated by the fact that they've been paying it for years, but a lot of it's going to be released. A lot of places aren't going to have that.
Mortgages, that changes the game.
Right, absolutely. And there's lots of areas where you can build now and not have to elevate and that type of thing. So
we had a few properties come in to the floodplain.
A handful of them are going to be newly in the floodplain, and so that was part of what the discussion was. Our Mud Creek flood control system, built in the mid-50s, is it accreditable now? Can it be accredited under modern criteria? Maybe not. And so we're looking at how to address that and help those who, if there is a breach of it, help them plan for
Are
those
we
things.
planning to go through an accreditation process or try to get those
That's part of what the
levies
discussion
accredited?
is. That's part of the discussion and decision that the city commission is going to have to make at some point.
Okay.
soon.
All right. Well, we're down to 2 minutes, so let's use it to remind people the primary reason we turned the camera on today, and that's
Right.
your cleanup week. And
Right.
So hit them again with the dates and what.
Well,
we can do.
and I'll tell you, if you've got some time between September 15th and September 21st, small groups of family, a group of friends, a church, a business, and you want to volunteer some time to help your neighbors here in Abilene, we have Make a Difference Week for you. And this will be the first annual event. And so we're going to have volunteer teams, if they have 2 hours or 10 hours, however much time they have. Collectively, we can really clean up some of our neighborhoods, get our quality of life up, and help out a neighbor who perhaps can't take care of things themselves. So it's going to be team building, it's going to be community building, it's going to be improving the quality of life in our neighborhoods, and it's very little time commitment for the impact that we can all make. So,
Okay. James Holland, thanks for coming. Always great to see you, but
Yep.
really great to have you
Yep.
talk to us about what's going on.
we hope to
in
see
the
you
city.
out September 15th.
You will.
Saturday.
We'll see those people out there too.
Yep. Yep.
We'll be waving like this when you see us. I'm Dennis Weiss, I work for Eagle Communication. James Holland, he's a community development guy over at the city of Abilene, doing great things for all of us. Have a great day.